The morning started like any other at Global Dynamics Corporation. I sat in my private office on the 50th floor, reviewing the final details of today's company-wide announcement. My parents, 15 floors below, were probably settling into their morning routine, completely unaware that their world was about to change. Ms. Mitchell, my assistant Jake appeared at the door. Your parents' department meeting starts in 30 minutes. Would you like me to alert security about the announcement protocol? Yes, I adjusted my blazer thinking about the last family dinner 3 months ago. The night that had sealed my decision to stop hiding. Emily, Dad had said, passing the potatoes, I heard you applied for the director position in innovation. I did, I'd replied, keeping my voice neutral. They didn't know I'd already acquired the entire company through a series of careful, anonymous purchases. Honey, Mom had touched my hand condescendingly, you're only 28. Nobody would take you seriously in management. Why not stay in your current role? It's safe. Safe. The word they'd used to dismiss every ambitious move I'd made since graduating college at 19. Now standing in my CO office with its panoramic city view, I smiled at the irony. They thought I was a mid-level analyst too young for management. If only they knew I'd been secretly running the company for the past 6 months. The board members are ready, Jake announced. And Mr. Harrison would like to confirm the script for your introduction. David Harrison, the public face of the company during my anonymous leadership, had played his role perfectly. Everyone thought he was the CEO while I pulled the strings from behind the scenes. But today that charade would end. I checked my reflection in the window. At 28, I looked younger than most executives, but my demeanor had earned respect from everyone who knew my true position. Everyone except my parents, that is. Did you see the quarterly reports? Dad had bragged last week. Our department's numbers are impressive. I should be up for promotion soon. What he didn't know was that I'd already reviewed those reports. His department was underperforming and major changes were coming. Changes I would announce today. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Good luck in the meeting today, honey. Remember to sit quietly and take good notes. That's how you get noticed. I laughed softly. Oh, they'd notice me today, all right. The company-wide meeting was scheduled in the main conference center. All 500 employees would be present, including my parents' entire department. The official announcement would introduce the mysterious CEO who'd turned the company around in 6 months, doubling its market value through innovative leadership. Your new outfit has arrived, Jake wheeled in a garment bag. Inside was a designer suit that cost more than my parents' monthly salary combined. And the legal team confirmed, all employees signed the new contracts yesterday. Contracts I'd designed to reorganize the company's structure. Contracts that would put me directly in charge of my parents' department. How's the betting pool? I asked, knowing the employees had been speculating about their mystery boss. Current favorite is that you're a retired tech mogul working incognito. Jake grinned. Nobody's even close to guessing the truth. I gathered my materials for the meeting. In my briefcase was a folder containing my parents' performance reviews. Mediocre at best. They'd coasted on seniority for years, resisting every innovation I'd tried to implement from my lowly position. Your father submitted another complaint about the new digital systems, Jake mentioned. Said, and I quote, these young tech-obsessed analysts don't understand how real business works. Did he now? I raised an eyebrow. Add that to my talking points for the department review. The clock struck 9. In 15 minutes I would walk into that conference center and show my parents exactly how real business works. Their daughter, the one they thought wasn't ready for management, was about to become their boss. And not just their boss, their boss's boss's boss. It's time, Jake announced, opening the door. I straightened my shoulders, picked up my briefcase and headed toward the elevator. Time to show my parents what their not-ready daughter had become. The main conference center was buzzing with anticipation. Through the backstage monitors I watched employees file in, clustering in their departmental groups. My parents sat in their usual spots, 3rd row from the front, Mom straightening Dad's tie while they whispered about office politics. Did you hear about the new systems Emily tried to propose? Dad was saying to his colleague. These kids think they can revolutionize everything with their apps and algorithms. I smiled, thinking about the AI-driven platform I'd developed. The one that had increased company efficiency by 40% when implemented last month. The one Dad had fought against until upper management forced the change. Ladies and gentlemen, David Harrison's voice boomed through the speakers. Thank you for joining us today for this historic announcement. The room fell silent. Even from backstage I could feel the tension. For the past 6 months, David continued, Global Dynamics has undergone a remarkable transformation. Our market value has doubled. Our innovation index has tripled. And today you'll finally meet the architect of this success. I checked my tablet. The company's stock had already started climbing on rumors of the announcement. But first, David smiled, I'd like to address some departmental changes. My parents sat up straighter. They thought Dad was due for a promotion. The traditional methods department, David read from his notes, will be undergoing complete restructuring. Our analysis shows it's operating at 60% efficiency compared to departments that adopted our new systems. Dad's face reddened. That was his department, the one he'd kept stuck in outdated processes despite my suggestions for improvement. All departmental heads will now report directly to our innovation director, David announced, who will be revealed shortly. Mom patted Dad's arm reassuringly. They still thought he had a shot at that position. Additionally, David continued, we've identified several employees who've shown exceptional insight and leadership. One analyst in particular proposed changes that could have saved the company millions, had they been implemented when suggested. I saw my parents exchange glances. They knew he was talking about my proposals, the ones they dismissed as young and naive. But before we proceed, David's voice took on a more serious tone. I have a confession to make. I am not and have never been the real CEO of Global Dynamics. The room erupted in murmurs. Through the monitor I watched my father lean forward, probably already calculating his chances at the position. For the past 6 months, David explained, I've been acting as the public face for our true leader. A brilliant strategist who chose to work anonymously to implement changes without bias or preconception. Mom's coffee cup paused halfway to her lips. This leader acquired the company through a series of strategic investments, turned our losses into record profits, and transformed our outdated systems into a model of modern efficiency. The side door opened and Jake gave me my cue. I straightened my designer suit and checked my CO pin one last time. And now, David's voice filled with pride, it's my honor to introduce you to your real CO, the youngest Fortune 500 leader in history. I stepped onto the stage, my heels clicking against the polished floor. The sound echoed through the suddenly silent room. Please welcome, David gestured toward me, your Chief Executive Officer, Emily Mitchell. Mom's coffee cup slipped from her fingers, dark liquid spreading across her desk as she stared at me in shock. Dad's mouth opened and closed without sound. Standing at the podium looking down at their stunned faces, I smiled. Good morning, Global Dynamics. We have a lot to discuss. First, I began, my voice carrying through the silent auditorium, let me address the rumors. Yes, I'm 28. Yes, I'm the same Emily Mitchell who worked as an analyst in traditional methods. And yes, I'm the one who's been pushing for modernization, successfully I might add, for the past 6 months. Dad's face had gone from red to white. Mom was still frozen, coffee dripping from her desk onto her shoes. Now let's talk about departments. I clicked to the first slide. Traditional methods has been renamed to digital innovation and integration. All employees will undergo mandatory training in our new systems. I paused, making direct eye contact with my father. Those who resist this change will be offered early retirement packages. Generous ones but non-negotiable. The implications weren't lost on anyone. Dad sank lower in his seat as his colleagues glanced sideways at him. Furthermore, I continued, pulling up performance metrics, I'd like to highlight some previously ignored initiatives. 3 years ago, an analyst proposed a digital transformation project. It was dismissed as, and I quote, young and naive thinking. I clicked to the next slide showing 2 graphs. The red line shows our current growth after implementing those exact changes. The blue line shows where we'd be if we'd listened 3 years ago. The difference? Roughly $300 million in lost opportunities. Mom's hand was gripping Dad's arm so tight her knuckles were white. But today isn't about dwelling on past mistakes, I softened my tone. It's about moving forward. Which brings me to our new organizational structure. The screen displayed the new corporate hierarchy. Right at the top was my name and photo with David Harrison as CEO. And there, several levels down, were my parents' positions. Now under managers they'd once dismissed as too inexperienced. Some of you may be wondering how this happened. I addressed the elephant in the room. How did an entry-level analyst end up owning and running the company? I pulled up another slide. My track record. The patents I'd secretly filed, the investments I'd made, the companies I'd advised. The fortune I'd built while everyone thought I was just taking notes in meetings. While some were busy protecting their outdated methods, I said pointedly, others were building the future. Age doesn't determine capability. Results do. Finally, I clicked to the last slide. My first memo as public CEO. Effective immediately, all promotions will be based on performance metrics and innovation potential. Not age. Not tenure. Not connections. Dad looked like he might pass out. Mom had tears in her eyes, though I couldn't tell if they were from pride or embarrassment. One final note, I added, setting aside my presentation. To the senior manager who said, and I quote, "Emily's not ready for management," at last month's department meeting. I smiled directly at my father. I hope you're ready for your new manager. She's 25, brilliant with technology, and doesn't believe in "that's how we've always done it." The room burst into applause, led by the younger employees who'd had their own ideas dismissed for years. My parents remained still, processing how completely their world had turned upside down. After the meeting, they waited by my office. Mom spoke first. "Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me?" I asked quietly. "Or would you have tried to talk me out of it, protect me from taking risks, keep me safe in my entry-level position?" Dad couldn't meet my eyes. We thought. You thought you knew better," I finished for him. "Just like you thought you knew better about the digital transformation. About modernization. About everything." "We were wrong," Mom whispered. "Yes, you were." I sat behind my desk, the CEO's desk. "Now about your performance reviews." They both stiffened. "Don't worry," I smiled. "I'm not firing you. But you will take the digital training. You will adapt. And most importantly, you will learn to listen to new ideas, regardless of who presents them." They nodded numbly. "Oh, and Dad," I added as they turned to leave. "About that comment that nobody would take me seriously in management? The board just approved my strategy for global expansion. Turns out they take me very seriously indeed." After they left, I looked out my office window at the city below. Somewhere out there, another young person was being told to wait their turn, to stay safe, to follow the old ways. I picked up my phone and drafted a company-wide email. New mentorship program starting next month. Age requirements? None. Innovation requirements? High. Because sometimes the best way to lead isn't just by proving others wrong. It's by making sure the next generation doesn't have to fight the same battles.